Hey, what's up guys, welcome to the 14th episode of PHP with MySQL crash course for beginners, error or exceptions handling. Error handling in PHP refers to the process of managing and dealing with errors that occur during script execution. PHP offers various error levels to address different types of issues that might arise during development and execution. These error levels include, here we have got Visual Studio Code as a code editor, and if you need to learn more about VS Code, you can watch my VS based series and find the link in the description below. So let me show you. The errors include PARSE errors, then we have fatal errors, warnings, notices, and then exceptions. So these are the issues or errors that you might come across. Let me close, or let's keep it right there. And before we move on, make sure that you have turned display -errors errors on, that we discussed in our first episode of the series, and you can find the link in the description below. Now before we move on, let me open my Explorer and let's make a copy of this sample.php, and let's rename it as error handling, and let's close the Explorer as well as sample.php and this file. Don't save, and make sure that you have turned your auto reload on. Let's add a couple of PHP tag and let's echo hello world. And to turn the auto reload on, you will need to open this file with go live server. Let's say live server, open with live server, and you could also open that will open this empty tab, and let's close that. Back to VS Code. You can also open the live server with this button, go live button, and let's right click and click on this option, PHP server. And now let's close the terminal as well as this notification, and let's resize the editor. Let me bring up the browser, and now let's browse localhost followed by /PHP tutorial and the name of file that we have just created, which is error-handling.php. Hit enter and make sure, let me zoom in a bit, and make sure that your auto reload is working. Add any random text here, say hit save, and that's working now. Now let's get back to error handling. Let me cut that line of code from there, and first of all we are going to jump into parse errors. Let's comment that out. Parse errors occur due to syntax errors in the code preventing script execution. For example, if I come in here and say echo and say hello world, I intentionally do not add here semicolon. Let's go to the next row and add some line break. Hit save and we get this parse error. Why did I add here this line of code? Because if I do not add it, let's comment that out, hit save, it will run the script. So to make it work, just add some line break, hit save, or any code. And if you are using Visual Studio Code, that also highlights the error with this red underline. Now to get rid of it, just add here semicolon, meaning if it shows you any parse error, you have any syntax error, Let's hit save. And secondly, let's talk about fatal error. Let's comment that out. Fatal errors stop script execution due to severe issues like calling undefined functions or classes. Say if you do not have a function hello followed by a semicolon, and notice that VS Code also highlights you that this is the undefined function. And if I hit save, we get fatal error. That also says uncaught error, call to undefined function. So it will go away if you define that function. Say let's define it with the function keyword followed by hello, couple of parentheses, and the code block, and let's echo hello 2 followed by a semicolon. And now notice that the error has been gone away. Now if you hit save, we don't get any fatal error. Let me comment this block of code out with the hotkey Control or Command Shift A. Let's keep the error there. Otherwise, let's comment out this line of code as well. Otherwise, it will not let you go forward. Let's comment that out. Hit save. After that, let's move on to warnings. Let's comment that out. Go to the next row, and here I'm going to define a new variable as var equals to undefined variable followed by semicolon. After that, let's add some line break. Now if I hit save, you get a warning, undefined variable, meaning that or say if you don't have any function defined, you will get fatal error. Next, we are going to discuss about exceptions. Exceptions are a more structured way of handling errors in PHP code. So for an idea, let me comment this line of code out, otherwise we would have some issues. Let's go to next row and exception handling. Let's comment that out, go to the next line, and let's echo some strange type of expression, say 10 divided by 0 followed by semicolon, and see what happens. That actually returns you a fatal error, uncaught division by 0 error. And say if you receive such type of exceptions, you can handle all of them. And to handle, let me define a function here, which is a function divide followed by parenthesis, and this will receive two parameters, say dividend and divisor, followed by the code block. And say if I'm gonna add here if else structure, and let's say that if divisor equals to 0, these three equals to make sure that the value and type should be the same. So if that is equals to 0, you would like to throw an exception with specific message, and you can do that with a keyword throw new exception. And let's pass here a message which is division by 0 is, let me wrap the editor, not allowed, followed by semicolon. And now let me define you this whole expression. First, this throw keyword is used to manually throw an exception in PHP, and then we have got this new keyword, or say this whole new exception with parentheses. So this new exception, this whole with the parentheses, now this whole part creates a new instance of the exception class with a specific error message passed as an argument. And don't get confused with the class, because we'll discuss classes in detail in our object-oriented programming episode. So if that's true, if this condition is true, throw this error. Otherwise, simply return, or let's copy both of them, paste that in here. Let's make an expression which is something like this. Otherwise, simply return the answer dividend divided by divisor. Now finally, you'll be interested in how you can handle exception. Let's comment that out and scroll all the way up. And there are two keywords, say try and catch, used for exception handling. They are part of a structured approach to manage and handle errors that might occur during script execution. So let me add it first. Try catch block. And this try block is used to encapsulate the code that might throw exceptions. It's where you place the code that could potentially trigger errors or exceptions. So here I'm gonna define a new variable, results equals to simply invoke the function that we defined, which is divide right here, and let's pass here say 10, 0 followed by semicolon, and now let's echo results. We won't get it, but for the sake of understanding, I'm gonna add this line. Let's concatenate here, result followed by semicolon, and now here comes catch block. Let me cut that expression from here. This catch block is used to catch and handle specific exceptions that are thrown within the corresponding try block when an exception occurs within the try block. And let's come here and add here exception, and let's add here $e. Now this whole expression that includes, or let's make it custom exception. This whole expression here, you can specify the type of exception to catch. In this case, it's catching instances of the custom exception class that we defined above. Say let's make, or let's keep it simply exception that we defined above, and this $e variable represents the exception object that has been caught. It holds the details of the exception, such as the message. And in the body, let's come in here and echo custom message, say caught exception colon, and let's concatenate here $e and call its method, which is getMessage followed by semicolon. And this is the way to invoke a method in object-oriented programming. And don't be confused with it. We'll discuss all of these things in detail in our object-oriented programming episode. Now say if you hit save, nothing happens, and that should, let's comment this line of code out, hit save, and we successfully caught exception. Division by 0 is not allowed. Or say if you divide 10 by 2, it's safe, we don't get any error. So that's how you can handle exceptions with your custom messages in PHP. And that was all about error handling. If you have any question, you just feel free to comment below, and do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for watching and see you next time.